Welcome, one and all, to the greatest review show of all. It is I, your host, Lady Pelvic, bringing you Ratings True of games that will leave you cheering, hip hip hurroo. Please allow me to present Puppeteer, a game to be experienced by old and young. It'll leave all in attendance sprung. So please direct your eyes center stage and sit quietly while we engage. A fun tale for all. It begins... Okay, alright. I'm not going to speak in rhymes this entire review. So, here we go. Puppeteer opens with the narrator telling a story of an evil moon bear stealing the moon goddess's black moonstone and a pair of magic scissors known as Calibris. After usurping the moon goddess's throne and becoming a ruthless moon bear king, he gives each of his generals, animals of the Chinese zodiac, a piece of the moon shard to protect. Meanwhile, he steals the souls of children, turning them into puppets. You are a young boy named Kuduro in the moon bear's claws when he pops off your head and eats it. I thought this game was ready to eat for everyone. Huh. The tutorial level is you working with your temporary sidekick, a sly cat named Yin Yang, trying to find a way out of the dungeon. After leaping and dodging tumbling foods, you meet the next big character, Esma Potts, an old witch who encourages you to steal Calibris. After successfully doing so, you find yourself on a quest to free your permanent sidekick, Piccarina, the Sun Princess, and on your way to an adventure to defeat the Moon Bear King's generals and restore the Moonstone. The gameplay in this game is freaking neato! Yeah, I said it, neat-o! Puppeteer is an imaginative 3D side-scrolling platformer. As Kuduro, your basic attacks are jump and snip, meaning using the scissors to cut at enemies and cut your way through levels. I found it incredibly creative to use scissors to propel yourself over dangerous ditches and pits of fire. As you go through the game, you encounter special heads of guardians to gain even more abilities, such as guarding and reflecting enemy attacks, or being a ninja and throwing bombs. Your health in this game are your heads. If you get hit, you'll lose a head and you'll have to reclaim it quickly or poof, it's gone. Heads don't only serve as your health, but how you discover secrets within the level. If you use the appropriate head for the appropriate situation, you may be in for quite the surprise. As for boss battles, they're mainly easy quick-time events.
Let's be
Cutscenes in Puppeteer are rather long, but they are always entertaining. I don't know how it's possible, but if you find yourself unamused, there's always the skip option. The interface of Puppeteer is a tribute to this game's solid commitment of a theatrical theme. The little details of every level or act and every sub-level within the acts are curtains. Pausing the game closes the curtains and is titled as an intermission. If you leave the game idle, the audience begins chatting, and once you become active, the audience silences themselves as if the show is continuing. The audience cheers if Kuduro is doing well and gasps if the scene is surprising. It's truly as if you're watching an outstanding performance. Not a fan of the audience or the narrator? You even have the option to lower their volume. Sometimes I did find it needed because the characters and the narrator at times would talk over each other. Before I move on to graphics, I want to mention this game can be two-player. The second player is either Yin Yang or Piccarina, and can be used to collect moonstone shards, carry heads, attack enemies, deflect objects, interact with the set, and more. Really, they make player one's life a heck of a lot easier, and I borderline encourage a player to if you plan on completing this game. As for the graphics, if you haven't noticed, this game's theme is all about puppets. Puppeteer does a phenomenal job of keeping the theme alive. Every character is beautifully designed as a puppet without strings. Even the tiny details of the set, you can see gears turning, the spotlights, and they even have elevations like a real Broadway performance. This game does not only have drama.
Whoa, is me.
Oh my gosh, this is mortifying!
But also musical theater.
You tried and had been stolen, and his oil springs made the ocean black as snow.
The sets are interactive and constantly changing. This game at no point in time was visually boring. My minor gripe I had about the visuals is when it came time to use a head, I couldn't tell which head the game was hinting at me to use, and the screen could sometimes be a bit too busy to pay attention to everything that was happening. The music was nice, it fit, and was extremely theatrical, very orchestral. It's not a soundtrack I found myself frequently going back to, not because it was bad, it just wasn't a particular sound I care to listen to on the daily. But it did flow with the game's levels and situations rather well. My favorite track is called Kuduro. I like it because it sounds so heroic. Have a listen. And that about sums up the wonderful game that's Puppeteer. I give this dazzling game a 10 out of 10, and here are the reasons why. The story, 10 out of 10. It's sweet and simple, easy to follow. This game is rated E for everyone, and it really is. There's something in the story that everyone can grab from. It's childish and family friendly. Like if you have a family, you have a daughter, you have a son, they're young, they can easily follow this game. If you like silly Disney humor or Nickelodeon humor, this game is just for you. It's silly, fun, it even breaks the fourth wall sometimes. The gameplay, 10 out of 10. It is insanely clever. The fact that you use scissors to propel yourself through the air is just awesome. You just don't magically fly. You have to work for it. You cut through bats, smoke, leaves, so many creative objects that you just kind of wouldn't think of at first. That's pretty damn clever. Getting weird heads. I love the fact that heads are essentially kind of your power-ups. What a funky thing. Let me just change my head today to switch my power. That's so cool. I thought it was radical. Not to mention you find little bonus stages which are really well crafted. The additional power-ups you get as you go through levels is great. Normally it's you have to do 5, 6, 7 levels before you get your next power-up. This game spaces it just right, where you do the first 2 levels, power-up, next 2 levels, power-up. It's not too distant. Not to mention, it has a great replay value, because certain levels, for example, the beginning levels, will have bomb symbols or hook symbols, and you'd be like, oh, I didn't have the bomb or the hook before. Well, now you do. So go back and hook those hooks and blow up those bomb symbols, and see what you find. Player 2 mode. Godsend. If you're player 1, you respect that player 2, because player 2 helps your butt out a lot. I've been on both sides, and both sides are just as fun. First player, yeah, you have a little bit more on your plate, but you are ever so grateful to your second player to making things a little bit more easier for you. I love second player mode. It's not boring, you don't feel useless, you don't feel idle, there's always something to do to help out your player 1. Yeah, it gets a little busy sometimes on the screen where you don't know what exactly is going on, so you're just kind of clicking buttons and hoping you're snipping something or you're blowing something up. But luckily that doesn't happen too often in the game, so you're fine. Besides, who really needs to see what they're doing in a video game? No one. Graphics, 10 out of 10. Everything in Puppeteer is pleasing to the eye. It's just there's so much to take in, but it's all gorgeous. They went hard with the theme. Really, everything from the curtains opening and closing, the audience, the narrator, even seeing the puppets. All the puppets are so nice and designed, and they really look like wood. You can just pick them up and dangle them. Really nice visuals, guys. Puppeteer blew me away. The set, specifically the set, was really well constructed. The designers really did their homework. You could see the gears turning, or spotlights, or the low lights, or the elevator. It just really felt so freaking real. If you have a 3D TV, it's totally 3D. Unfortunately, I don't, so I didn't get to experience it. But really, not many people use the 3D mode anyways. Music is a 10 out of 10. It's great, it really fits the theme, whether it be comedic or dramatic. And I love the fact that it's orchestral, you really just feel like you're in a theater. It's not like an electronic sound, it's just very authentic feeling. I like it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have played this game and what you guys thought of it, or if you may pick it up now. My question for you is, what is your favorite non-Nintendo platforming game? Off the top of my head, I would definitely say Sonic and Knuckles. And that was not Nintendo, that was Sega at the time. Thanks again guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up button. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, thank you. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.